You are listening to the Hour of the Time. I'm William Cooper. Good evening, folks. I was playing with Crusher. And you can't play with Crusher without getting bloody. You know, he doesn't mean to hurt me. He's a big, giant muscle. And he plays rough. And so do I, as a matter of fact. And we enjoy playing together and wrestling. And inevitably, I will find myself moving real fast and scraping my arm or my hand across his teeth. And he's not biting me. Don't get the wrong idea. He's not biting me at all. He's playing. And he opens his mouth and he grabs my arm, but he doesn't grab it. He doesn't bite. He doesn't press hard enough to break the skin. But if I fall and my weight is carrying me down, my arm scrapes across his teeth, and then pretty soon I'm bleeding. It always happens. I've never, ever been able to play with this dog without coming away bloody. But we have a great time. And you might get the idea that we don't play all the time, and that's true. If we did, I wouldn't have any skin left anywhere. But every once in a while, we both just get a little playful, and we do. We play. It's like a couple of football players running around the house and wrestling and falling down, and he weighs about 120 pounds. And I'm a big man. When he jumps up, he can knock me down easily if he wants to. This is a strong dog. And I just love him to pieces. I mean, I really do. I guess you can't tell that, can you? I love this dog very much. And we've become very close, I got to tell you. There's only one habit of his that I don't always like. Sometimes I like it, but sometimes when I just don't feel like getting up real early in the morning, and I've got to, because he's my buddy and he's got to watch the sunrise. I mean, that's all there is to it. So I got to go watch the sunrise with him, and that's the way it is. So you know, you gotta take the good with the bad. And you do things for people and animals, children and relatives and friends that you love that maybe you don't want to do. And I'm sure that he does a few things for me that he doesn't want to do. In fact, I know darn well he does. Without any doubt whatsoever, I know that he does. Got some good music tonight, folks. I hope you like it. It was sent in by one of the listeners. I get a lot of music from the listeners. I don't always get around to playing it all because people send me tapes and they stack up, and sometimes I don't have time to listen to them. And I can't use something unless I've listened to it first. So today I picked a tape out of the pile and I listened to it, and by golly, I like this stuff. So, you know, you get to hear it too. Tonight we're going to have open phones, open topic, talk about anything you want. I don't care. Tomorrow night we're going to have a sort of special night. You're going to get to listen to something, and you know, I think you'll find it very interesting. But tonight, be open topic, open subject, open phones, open, you know, whatever you want, and we'll see how that goes. If you want to write the number down now, it's 520-333-4578. 520-333-4578. Oh, that's somebody named Jimmy Cliff. I never heard any of his stuff before. It's pretty good. And you're going to hear another one on the half hour, somewhere around there. Well, it's open phones tonight, and it's open topic. You can talk about anything in the world that you want to talk about. It's okay with me. You can continue where we left off last night if you want to. In fact, you know, when I came out with my prediction and told you why, there's a lot more reasons why. But we were out of time. I mean, that was at the end of that was the end. one of the last callers took a little bit too much time, and that's okay. I let him. But if you've been to the website, and if you've never been to our website, go there. Go there while you're listening to the broadcast. It's williamcooper.net. williamcooper.net. You'll find things on our website you will not find on other websites. You'll find stories that are illuminating, to say the least. Will open your eyes and your mind. And we will also direct you to some other websites that you will find extremely interesting. And by the way, just because we link to another website does not mean that we approve of the content or that we disapprove of the content of that website. It just means that we found something there that you might find interesting. That's all it means. Occasionally I get an email from somebody, and they're just chewing me out and cussing me out and raving and ranting because of something that I wrote on our website. And so I go to check out, what in the hell are they talking about? And I didn't write it. It's not on our website. The poor fellow who really doesn't understand how the internet works clicked on a link on our website, which took him to another website and another story that somebody else wrote, and here he is blaming it on me. That happens all the time. Needless to say, it does not make me happy. While I'm on the subject of not being happy, let me lay something down to you that needs to be strictly followed. You've heard me say it over and over again on this broadcast. I set aside the time between noon, that's 12 o'clock, and 5 p.m. to answer your phone calls. I'm here Monday through Friday. Unless there's some emergency or something that I've got to do, I'll be here. Now, if you call and nobody answers the phone, I might be taking Crusher for a walk. Or somebody may have driven up to talk to me, and I might be outside talking to them, so call back in 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Because I'm here. And I'm here between 12 noon and 5 p.m. to take your phone calls. I've set that time aside just for you guys. And I don't take calls at any other time anymore unless it's a real emergency. If it's a real emergency, I'll take your call anytime. I will not collect calls ever unless it's a member of my immediate family or somebody that I've known, for years. And no aren't going to rip me off by asking me to take a collect call and then just wanting to sit and chit and chat. Okay? And believe me, I've had everything happen to me that you can imagine. Just because I have this radio broadcast, or I wrote my book, or I went and spoke somewhere, I was a guest on somebody's radio show. So listen very carefully. For years, I took calls from the listeners to this broadcast from people I didn't know from Adam at all hours of the day and night. And I have discovered that people are just asinine, inconsiderate, don't give a damn about me or what time it is or whether I need any sleep or I need to eat or anything else. So after having done it for years and suffered from the boob complex, because only boobs do that to other people, I would never do that to anyone, and I don't. Don't ever call me at any other time on any other day except Monday through Friday from 12 noon to 5 p.m. That time is set aside for you. If you're at work, call me on your break. And don't tell me you don't have a break. You do. Okay? If you call me at any other time, I'm going to get really upset with you. And I'm going to let you know it. And I don't care if you don't like it. I really don't care because, you see, you don't care about me or you wouldn't do it. Every night after this broadcast, even though I've told you many times that I have this time set aside from 12 noon to 5 p.m. to take your calls, people start calling. And they call all evening and they call into the night and people call me at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, is this Bill Cooper? Yeah, is this an emergency? No, I just had an idea I thought you might want to do on your radio show. I'm not even going to tell you what I say at that point. For years, though, I used to be very polite and used to take all these calls because I thought, someday, people are going to be polite to me, but they're not. And it's never going to change. So I've just stopped doing it. I don't do it anymore. And a lot of you think just because we've gone off the air and we're playing the exit music that I don't have anything else to do, so you start calling. Oh, I know you're off the air, but I wanted to talk to you about so-and-so. Hey, man, I'm shutting down a radio broadcast. I've got to disconnect from WVCQ. I have to get 101.1 back up with all oldies most of the time and get that going again for the people here in the valley. But, some people don't think it. Some people are just rude. Just rude. They'll call me at midnight and act like they don't know what time it is. Now, I'm usually up at midnight, but I'm working. I'm doing things, and I don't want to be interrupted. And sometimes, if I'm real tired, I'm in bed at midnight, and I don't like being awakened unless it's an emergency. If it's an emergency, please, yes, call me immediately. If it's an emergency, yes, do it. But if it's not, you can call me between 12 noon and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and I'm here to talk to you. We'll love to get your call, and while I will not stay on the phone for, any long period of time just chit-chatting, I'm here. I will take your call. I will be nice to you, and I will listen to you. And whatever. Okay? So, I just wanted to get that off my chest, because it seems lately this stuff has been increasing again. And it's just getting worse, and so it needs to stop. Okay. Back to tonight's broadcast. 520-333-4578 is the number. Open phones, open subject. And we'll talk about anything that you guys want to talk about. If you want to talk about anything. If you don't, I can go to bed. Or I can go, work on my video editing. I got all kinds of things that I can do, folks. So, use it or lose it. Good evening. You're on the air.
Hi, Bill. How you doing?
Good. Who's this?
Dave.
Oh, hi, Dave. Good to hear from you.
Well, at least it quit snowing out here, eh?
Well, it didn't snow here very much. I mean, we got some pretty big flakes for about 5 minutes, and that was it.
We got just come back off the top of the mountain on 260, and it's pretty icy up there.
Really? Well, I imagine it would, because that's where all the stuff was coming down.
So.
I wish it would snow real hard here. We need a lot of water.
Yeah, about 6 feet up on the mountain. But whatever. I think that it's going to be Bush that gets elected.
You think so?
I think it's kind of strange. I'm on a cell here. You might lose me. I think it's kind of strange that ever since Nina, it's been Bush and then Clinton and then Bush again. There's got to be something to that.
Well, it hasn't been Bush again yet. Bush is running.
Well, it just seems like George didn't get his full 8 years, so he's going to let his kid have the last 4. So.
Well, it may not have been just the Bilderbergers saying that Clinton was going to be president. Maybe Bush didn't want to be president for a second term. Hey, he didn't try at all.
Well, and that's possible. And then he said, well, I'll make you a deal. I won't run, and in 8 years you let my kid run.
Yeah, that's what he said, all right.
So, anyway, that's a thought.
Okay.
Talk to you later.
Thanks for calling.
You bet.
Take care on those roads. One of Arizona's finest. When I say that, I'm not joking around either. Lots of police officers out there. Not too many of them are good, much less finest. That's one of Arizona's finest. 520-333-4578 is the number. Taking your calls. Open phones, open topic for the rest of the hour. Good evening, you're on the air.
Yes, Bill, good evening. How you doing?
Good.
Dick from Jersey.
Dick, I need you to put your mouth right in front of your phone.
Better?
That's much better, and I wish you all would do that without me having to tell you. Thank you.
I know. It's just we got to get.
Well, stop it. Come on.
I know. Just this cold weather reminded me of something. Being I live in New Jersey, I took a trip up to Jockey Hollow, where the Continental Army, backed by with the Washington's troops,
You're dropping down again. Come on,
okay.
keep your voice up.
Okay, where the
I'm not picking on you. It's just that if you want people to hear you, you got to talk.
Okay.
Thanks.
Is it better?
That's much better.
I just have to shout. That's all. No, what I did was I walked through the forest and the parade grounds and everything in the bitter cold with my modern day boots and jackets and hat and gloves, and I just couldn't imagine how they did it back then.
Some of them were barefoot.
Yes, exactly.
And some of them, if they had anything to put on their feet at all, it was rags. Just wrapped their feet in rags.
And every morning they stood there for inspection, and the captains would inspect the ranks and make sure they had what they needed for battle. And the only source of warmth was a little farmhouse, Wick's farmhouse, where they would gather for prayer. And they're saying that farmhouse was shared by all the troops from time to time, just to try to get themselves warmed up.
Yeah, well, they took turns.
Yeah.
It's not a very big house, and they took turns, and there were thousands of soldiers.
My point is, I just couldn't imagine how. I mean, they had been dedicated and just, had a cause that they believed in.
Oh, they were. But, most people don't understand that none of them were in the war all the time unless they continually re-enlisted.
Right.
Because their terms of enlistment were like 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 16 weeks, things like that. And they were always turning over troops. And some of them would keep re-enlisting, or they would be on the way back home and they would find somebody else drumming up volunteers, and they'd get to drinking in the tavern, and the next thing you know, they were back in the Army again.
Which brings point. I sent you a book, The Revolutionary War Remembered. I don't know if you received that.
Yes, I'm in the process of reading. It's very good. It's from the narratives that the old soldiers wrote in the 1800s when they were applying for the pension. When the government finally decided to give them the pension they'd promised them ever since the Revolutionary War.
I know some of those stories are fantastic. That's what prompted me to take a walk up there and just they were feeling.
I really appreciate you sending the book, and as soon as I'm finished reading it, because I read it in spurts now, I'm going to pick some of the best ones to use on the air.
Oh, that's what I was hoping for.
Oh yeah, I will. You better believe it. It's just incredible, some of the things that these guys went through. And it's interesting that, like a couple of them, a guy would enlist for like a month. And his enlistment would expire, and the commander would come out and give some great speech and talk him into staying because he would feel bad about going home. And so he'd re-enlist again for another month or something, and then he'd be on the way home and run into some captain that was charismatic or something that was drumming up and forming a company, and the next thing you know, he's marching right back the way he came. Or he might go home and spend a month, and then the British come and destroy his home, and so he gets all upset, and he goes back in the Army again.
I just remember reading one of the stories, and it was just about how a guy was just sitting there and breakfast one morning, just said to his wife, "I'm going to go out and fight this month. I'll be back in a month."
Yeah. Plus, there was some stories about guys who went in and served a month and then paid somebody else to serve the rest of their term.
Yeah, I mean, it was I was amazed. I thought it was like major battles, but what it turned out is just mostly little skirmishes that went on from place to place.
Well, there were some real big battles, but you're right. A lot of these narratives are guys who went in, and like one guy drove a mule team and never was in a battle. But it's interesting, and it's just incredible to find out what they went through. But I found it very interesting that you could pay somebody. See, all the Army cared about was there was a body there for that contract.
Right.
And so if you weren't there, somebody else had to be there and answer when your name was called. And as long as that happened, you weren't a deserter, and you weren't AWOL, and everything was fine.
All the President cared for.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll get off so someone else can call it.
Okay, thanks for calling.
Okay, take care.
That's a real nice book. It's The Revolutionary War Remembered. And it's somebody went into all the old applications for pension that were put in by the Revolutionary War soldiers when they were old men in the 1800s when they applied for their pension. And they had to prove that they actually fought in the Revolutionary War. And so if they couldn't write, they would go to a courthouse and have the clerk of the court, they would testify to the clerk who would write the narrative for them. And some of them were very well educated and wrote long narratives from their diaries and things like that. And they named their commanding officers and the men they served with and the battles they were in. And some of them are just wonderful stories. And I'm really enjoying reading that book. And incredible people I would have loved to call my friend. I just would be honored if they would consider me to be their friend. That's the kind of people they were. And honest, right down to the teeth. You don't find people like that anymore. Back then, you could count on everybody that you met or that you knew or that lived in your town to be honest and truthful. And there were only a few scallywags, and everybody knew exactly who they were. It's amazing what's happened to the people of this country. I'm amazed. I don't know about you, but I'm amazed. Good evening. You're on the air.
Hi, Bill.
Hi.
This is Trip out in Wyoming.
All right, Trip. Can you put your mouth in front of the phone and talk louder?
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
I got a couple of questions. I don't get to hear you very often on your radio, but I really enjoy when I do. And I've come to find...
your voice is dropping down again.
Sorry, I come to realize most of the things you say are very right on. But I wanted to ask a question, and I'll take the answer off the air, or I'll listen to the radio. I've got a question. What's your opinion? Do you think that these guys that are in power are going to try to keep the system propped up through the elections, and then if it goes good for them, they'll keep it going while they continue to merge us into this New World Order thing? Or do you think that if they get the wrong guy in office, they'll just collapse it? And who knows what? Try to...
Wrong guy will never make it to office.
Well,
the wrong guy will not even ever get nominated. Those days are over. Be no more surprises.
Okay.
It's either be Gore or Bush.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
And both of them are the enemy. It really doesn't make any difference which one, but they've set it up to be Gore. And the Republicans and the Conservatives have played right along with it by fracturing their vote. And when they fracture their vote and create these different parties, in a state, if a party has X number of strength, they have X number of electoral college votes. Yeah. And so the Democrats are not fractured at all. There are no left-wing parties other than the Democratic Party. Period. So they're getting the whole force of their entire voting mechanism, and they go out and drive people to the polls, or they make dead people vote. They do anything they can to win, while the Republicans are, out there dividing themselves up and all this kind of. But it really. Do anything they can to win, while the Republicans are, out there dividing themselves up and all this kind of. But it really doesn't make any difference, because even if Bush got elected, he's going to do the same thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, one last question. In your opinion, is the gold and silver a good investment?
Always has been, always will be. If you study the history of the world and the history of conflicts, when society breaks down to its meanest level, those with gold and silver survive, those with paper starve to death.
Okay, that's good advice. I appreciate it, buddy.
So I've always recommended gold and silver coins. The only recommendation I've ever made. It's the only recommendation I ever will make. If you go and invest in other things and you lose your money or whatever happens, that's your fault. It's not my fault. Don't come back and blame me.
Okay.
Okay? And I'm not recommending it as an investment so that you're going to get rich, or it's going to go up and you're going to reap a whole bunch of money. I've never, ever said that. Never recommended it for that purpose. I've recommended it to hold for the time when the war starts, or when the society breaks down, when they start coming after people, when there's the battles in the streets, when the law and order breaks down and society starts to exist on its meanest level. If you don't have a militia to keep order in your community, people with paper are going to starve and die, and people who have gold and silver will survive. You'd be surprised that a $20 gold piece might buy your life someday. A $20 Federal Reserve note, toilet paper, my friend.
Yeah, I agree with that. I pretty much figured that would be your advice, but I just wanted to hear it from your own lips.
Yeah. And when women can't get tampons, tampon will buy you a lot. When people who are addicted to coffee can't get coffee, a pound of coffee will take you a long way.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying these things to be funny. I'm being dead serious.
Yeah,
Ask any woman what she would do if society broke down and she could not get a hold of her feminine hygiene products. Ask people who must drink coffee all day, every day, what they would do for a pound of coffee if there was no coffee to be had anywhere.
I get your address.
Okay?
Appreciate it.
Thanks for calling. I'm not trying to be mean or bring up subjects that people don't want to talk about. I'm telling you the truth, and you better listen to me. You really had better listen. 520-333-4578 is the number. Open topics, open phones, open everything. And if you were up here on this mountain and you went outside, it'd be open air. Really cold out there. Tonight, the wind's blowing. It was snowing a little bit this afternoon. It's been snowing up on the mountain all day long. And you heard Dave say that there's 6 foot of snow up there already. And he has to drive those roads all the time. Good evening, you're on the air.
Yes, this is Dave from Kentucky.
Hi, Dave. Can you talk louder, please?
Okay, yes, sir.
You know, you've all heard me say it 3 times now. How come I still have to say it? How come you just can't help out and do it?
Yeah, to me, it's loud. So.
Well, it's not loud here, okay?
Okay. I'll keep it brief then.
You don't have to keep it brief. Just talk loud.
Okay. I'll try.
What do you mean try? You sound like this some... What are you going to do if somebody assigns you a difficult task if you can't do this?
Well, let's give it a try here.
Okay, that's more like it.
I was listening to your show last night and your take on the election, and it was interesting. I would have picked Bush, and then after thinking about what you said and your reasons for it, I think you got it right, and it's kind of depressing. But
United We Stand has taken so many votes away from the Republican Party that you'd have to have Jesus running to even have a chance.
Yeah, that's what I've come to the conclusion of, and it's depressing because there's really no election.
Yeah, and that's not the only third party that's taken votes away from the Republicans. There's lots of them out there.
No, I've been involved with the Buchanan thing, and I'm starting to think, well, why?
Yeah.
So
Why do people get behind somebody they know doesn't have a prayer in hell?
It's a good question. I mean, you hope, I guess you're hoping against hope that your side will get in, but the reality is...
Let me tell you, the only way our side is going to get in is at the point of a gun. It's the truth. That's come down to that. For us to restore constitutional Republican government and be able to do the right thing in this country that should be done, it's going to have to happen at the point of a gun, and that's going to take a civil war.
That's yeah. When you finally realize that, though, it really is kind of a...
It's a bummer, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I spent most of my life trying to prevent it. The whole purpose of this broadcast was to wake up enough people so it would never have to happen. And in the process of waking them up, I was also preparing them, telling them to train, telling them to arm themselves, form militias, get ready, because if our effort to wake up enough people to form a consensus of power. You see, they can't govern without the consent of the government. If the majority of the American people were not sheeple, nobody would ever have to get hurt. There wouldn't have to be a shot fired. But that's just not the case, is it?
No, it's not. But it's like you say. I mean, it's kind of upsetting when you finally realize that it's quite an awakening. That's all
Yeah. Oh, I know exactly what you're talking. It's a great shock to me. But the greatest shock to me, the thing that hurt me the worst, was the discovery that most of the American people are not, I can't say were not, because at one time in our history they were, are not smart people. They're really, for the most part, actually, they've been so dumbed down and so conditioned by the television set that they're stupid. Actually, really stupid. It's gone beyond ignorance.
I agree, and that's a difficult thing to encounter. I mean,
it was devastating when I finally reached that conclusion. When I finally realized that it was literally and absolutely devastating.
Yeah.
And you can see that if you have a complete set of tapes of all of our broadcasts from the beginning, you can see exactly when it happened. That's when I stopped taking any crap from anybody and got tough on the radio.
Yeah. What can I say? I think I understand. It's just, I don't know.
Hello?
Hello. I don't know. We got cut off, I think.
No, you didn't.
Okay.
We're listening.
Okay.
You stopped talking.
No, it went dead on this side, so. Okay. The connection's a lot better now, so I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I already told you.
Okay.
Just talk.
One last thing I wanted to say, your comments about the precious metals and stuff I do agree with. And the way my take on that is not so much an investment as it is insurance.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay.
It's your own personal insurance. And, all I did to figure that out was just study history. I studied who got hurt when governments fell, or when wars took place, or when law and order broke down in places, or when the plague hit whole cities and the administration and the police and all those people were wiped out. Who survived and who didn't? It was always people who had gold and silver coin, and everybody else was at the mercy of circumstance.
Right, and every paper currency ever in the history of the earth has failed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I enjoy your show. I'm a recent listener, and it's very interesting, and I really enjoy it. So I want to let you know that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll let someone else talk.
Thanks for calling.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
520-333-4578 is the number. Open phones, open topic, open subject, open everything. Open a can of beans. Open, whatever you want to open. Good evening. You're on the air. Open a can of worms.
Good Lord. Yeah. A ways back, not too long ago, you were reading from a Revolutionary War book.
Uh-huh.
And I caught 2 nights of listening. And the third night, I couldn't pick in for nothing. And I was wondering what the name of that book was.
Patriots.
And can I get that from you?
No, you can get it from your local bookstore. If they don't have it on the shelf, you can order it. It's Patriots. It's the story of the men who started the Revolutionary War. One of the best books you'll ever read.
Can I get the author?
I don't have the author right in front of me. I think it's Lundgruth, but I can't say for sure because I don't remember right off the top of my head. I was looking around to see if it was in the studio, and I don't see it.
All right. Well, I enjoy listening to you, Mr. Cooper. And, all right. You have a good night. Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Okay. I'm sorry. I was still looking for the book. I left the microphone and went over to look for the book. It's not in the studio, so.
All righty.
I think that's the author, but I'm not sure.
I'm going to look into that because I'd like to have that book.
Well, I think every American should read that book.
It's pretty awesome.
You'll find out the truth about the American Revolution. Believe me, what you were taught is not the truth at all. The man who's almost single-handedly responsible for starting the American Revolution is Samuel Adams. Not George Washington, not Benjamin, not any of those guys. It was Samuel Adams. And when you find out who he was, and this guy was a rabble-rouser, I got to tell you.
Yeah, my kind of people.
Yeah, mine too. Thanks for calling.
All right, Mr. Cooper. Have a good night.
You too. 520-333-4578. Everybody should read the true history of the Revolutionary War. How did it start? Who started it? Why was it started? What were the conditions there? What kind of people fought the war? What kind of people didn't fight the war? Who was on our side? Who was on King George's side? Why? Good evening. You're on the air. If you don't know these things,
Hey, how you doing tonight?
If you don't know these things, folks, you don't know who you are. You don't know what this country is. And it's sad that Americans would be in that state of mind.
Roger that. I agree.
Go ahead.
Hey, what do you think about all the oil refineries shutting down around the countries and here in Venezuela?
So?
Well, don't you think that's going to have some kind of impact?
Sure, they're going to create another artificial oil shortage, and the price of oil is going to go up.
Okay.
And they've been putting out hints that it was going to happen for quite a while.
Roger that. Yeah.
So if you've been paying attention, you're ready for it.
I'm ready. That's I'm working on an old van right now, Volkswagen. That's tweaking out right now. Stuff you can haul stuff in. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
That gets some decent mileage. Another thing about the precious metals, I've been a coin collector for years, nothing major, but every time I went to go turn in some coins for money, they're always cheating, SOBs, but I still am a collector.
And they're not cheating anybody.
Well,
it's a market.
Yeah.
They sell at one price and buy at another. And the market is artificial. It depends upon how many people value whatever that coin is and how much they want to pay for it as to how valuable it is. If you're a collector, it's all an artificial value to begin with. It depends upon how many collectors there are who have collections that need that coin as to what the value is going to be. You see? So what I recommend is gold and silver bullion coin, not collector's coins.
Yeah. Well, I had a really good deal. I was over in Hawaii, and this guy was selling out, and I got a good deal on a bunch of stuff, and I just took it. I had the money, and he just wanted to sell it, so I took it. And I still think there's
good
value there. I mean, one day, like
if it's collector's value, let me tell you something. If you spend $50,000 for a coin because it's a collector's coin, when society breaks down, that coin is worth only the amount of the gold in it. Period.
I hear you. That's what they give you. I mean, like I said, they give you the spot value, but out there one day it's going to have real value, like what you're saying when it breaks down. Well,
it already does have real value. Gold and silver coin is a commodity that's used in industry and a whole bunch of other things. It will always have value. It's like land. That's why I recommend that you and not just gold and silver coin. Anything that has real intrinsic value, that means value within itself, is good. Especially things that people will need and want and be willing to pay for if society breaks down and they can't get it, like toilet paper. If you had a warehouse full of toilet paper and you could guard it and keep people from stealing it, you'd be a rich man.
I hear that. I agree. I mean, I've been awake now since I retired from the military back in '98. Okay, I got my shortwave out and I had time to listen, and I woke up.
What branch were you in?
I was in the Army.
Okay.
And I've been preparing for a while here, but people. I read this book one time. It's called The Last Babylon by Pat Frank, and I made my list up for preparedness for that. Especially like, the shotgun shit, 12 gauge, 22s, the stuff that, you can barter with, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And that's going to be like gold right there if you ask me one day.
Well, yeah, you're right. Anything that's worth money that other people will need and they can't get from any other source, if you've got it, it's going to be very valuable.
Yes, sir. Anyway, I enjoy your show. I heard it last night. I was I was getting into you were talking about the presidential candidates. Yeah, I faded out on me. I'm up here in West Virginia.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, that's okay. I got a booster, but it still didn't help. You know?
Well, we're on the internet. You can listen live on the internet.
Well, I can't afford one of them things, but that was the point I was going to break out about the votes and stuff. Ever since they made those computers, I never trusted them at all because Bill Gates and those guys aren't fools. And every time they build a program or anything electronic like that where they can hook it up to the internet like that, they've got a back door where they can go in there and change anything they want to.
I don't know that, and I know that they have tried that on a couple occasions, but there's some pretty smart 14, 15, 19-year-olds out there, and some 20 and 30-year-old guys out there and girls that know computers better than you and I ever will. And every time they try it, it's these guys that catch them. Sometimes a 14-year-old kid that catches them. They're geniuses.
Yeah, I know.
And they always catch it. So they might build one in and it might last for a little while, but they always get caught.
Yeah.
Always.
Well, that's what the votes on the computers could be manipulated.
Yeah, well, you can't catch that because we don't have access to that program.
That's right. Say we go back, they were talking about today. I heard Charles Collins on one program today talking, and they were bringing up the aspect of the. That's
another divide in Congress. Charles Collins is running. There's more, he doesn't have a prayer in hell. Why is he running?
I know. He's just in there. I think that.
Let's examine this seriously.
Okay.
Charles Collins hasn't got the wildest prayer in hell of even coming close to even thinking about winning. Why is he running?
Well, I think that he's in there for the people that would.
No, he's in there to take votes away from somebody else who might have a chance of getting elected.
Well,
that's the truth.
He's got my vote. As far as I think that if there's
why would you waste your vote if you know he hasn't got a prayer of getting elected?
I don't know. I've lost hope. Hopefully that if I was going to drop it on somebody, I think he'd be the man. Him.
You want to vote? Vote on a damn good rifle. Vote on lots of ammo.
Yeah.
And get ready.
Well, I'm 20 years in the military. I'm a shooter.
Good for you.
But like I say, I think I'm also a born again Christian.
And
I think there's a lot of visionaries out there that I think we're probably going to be hit by Russia.
Forget all that. Don't listen to rumor. Forget all the rumor. Forget all the prophets. Forget all the prophecies. Forget all that stuff. It's easy to control you if you're into all that kind of stuff. Deal with reality.
Oh, I take it day by day.
You can believe whatever you want, worship on whatever altar you want. But when you start listening to all these people that are telling you what's going to happen because the Bible says this and the Bible says that, I can show you where the Bible doesn't say that. And I'm a Christian too.
Yeah.
But deal with reality. There's lots of people out there claim to be prophets. They're not. And if you've been following them, you'll find out that they're not. Like the last day prophet of God, Brother Stair. Brother Stair has been wrong thousands of times. Prophets are never wrong. Brother Stair said January 1st would be the end of the world because of Y2K. Brother Stair is now up there telling us that, something else is going to be the end of the world. You don't get wrapped up in that. That's how they control you. And if you really believe that it's true, and it's the prophecy of God coming true, how can you resist it?
I think that...
if I was a general, boy, I couldn't think of anything better to help me win a battle than a bunch of people who believed that God was bringing all this about so they wouldn't fight me.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, I'd take it day by day myself. There's nothing I can do about it if it comes down, you know what I'm saying? It's got to be prepared. I got my coffee.
Yeah, where would we be if George Washington thought that way? Nothing we can do. There is something we can do. We can draw the line in the sand and say no more, and I'm willing to die, just like George Washington and all those guys who fought the Revolutionary War that did die. I'm willing to die for my rights, and I don't give a damn, I'm going to take a whole bunch of you with me before I die. That stopped them right in their tracks if enough Americans stood up and said that, because there ain't enough of them. They wouldn't last very long. Because they'd have to come against all of us, whether they came at us one at a time or all together, wouldn't make any difference. So many of them are going to die. It's not worth it for them to do it.
So, like like I said, there's a lot of guys out there like you and me that, you know, getting the business end of a weapon, you know, but I don't know. I don't know what the solution is, you know. I just...
Solution is get tough, draw the line, don't take any crap, don't bow to tyranny, and if you have to die in that stance, then do it. Because let me tell you something, and this is the greatest truth you're ever going to learn in your whole life. If you're not willing to die for freedom, you're a slave already. You will never taste freedom. You will never be free. You will be a slave. That's all there is to it.
That's why I joined the military all those years. I figured, hey, you know, this is a wild place, a wild planet, and, you know, I figured I'd go ahead and do it to it. And, you know, I was over there in the Persian Gulf having Scud missiles shot at me. We had all kinds of stuff going on over there. You know, explosions and stuff. You know, some big munitions. I mean, giant conventional bombs going off. And they're telling us all stuff. And shoot, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I have faith in the Lord. And if that day comes, well, I gotta squeeze off around somebody. If it comes down to me and my family, you better believe, you bet your boots that's what I'll do.
Well, good for you.
Because, like you say, you know, I'm a freedom fighter. I mean, I'll die. You know, this is my country here.
You have to be willing. I mean, if you were willing to go and die over there in the desert, for what?
Yeah, for a bunch of oil.
Why wouldn't you be willing to do that here for your country?
Oh, I'm not. I'm not at all.
Okay.
If you know, if it comes down to it, and there's rats in the street and all that kind of stuff, we would have kicked that around too.
Most people look at me funny when I say that.
Well, a lot of people.
Well, if I didn't go, they would have thrown me in jail. Well, if you did go, you could have died, you dumb jerk.
Well,
what the hell's the matter with that kind of people that think like that?
They just don't want to get wrapped around the axle with the politics and all that kind of stuff.
No, the truth is
they're afraid to speak their mind.
Truth is they have no brains. And if that's all they went for, then they're cowards to begin with. And they probably were sloughing around over there hoping they didn't get shot.
Well, there's always those kind of guys around. I was in the infantry, and you know, I mean, there's nowhere to hide in the desert. You know, you might find a gully somewhere, but
I'll tell you who I want around me when the buffalo chip hits the fan. I want Vietnam veterans. That's who I want around me.
Yeah, I have the utmost respect for those guys. I mean, America, like you said the other night, really them a debt. And you know, my hat's off to all those guys. You know, you just can't thank them enough for their service to their country, and then they get defecated on.
Yeah, but
and you know, these politicians, they don't care.
All that aside, they know how to fight. They know how to fight good. They fought the best that there is.
And that's true. That's true. I'm not denying that, because they were in the worst environment probably you can get in.
Oh yeah.
And they Charlie out there 24 hours a day, dogging them out. You know.
Yep.
And on the other hand, a lot of times our guys were out there doing the same thing to them too.
Yeah.
You know. So hey, well, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna let somebody else get on there.
Thanks for calling.
I appreciate you taking my call.
Thanks for calling.
Enjoy your program. Bye.
520-333-4570. Got time for maybe one more call. Gosh, I didn't do those. Oh, wow. Well, good evening. You on the air?
Yes, how you doing? Well, Bill.
Good.
Let's see. I called you last night. I was, you know, when he was talking about the presidential candidates, and I was telling you, I thought Bush was going to get in. And then after listening to your comments last night about what you thought about it, I thought about what Alan Keyes said too. If Bush did become the candidate for the presidency against Gore, that he would lose, because of we are relatively at peace worldly, and the economic process part of the equation. But me myself right now, I'll say that the pendulum has swung too far. Talk about revolution. It just swung too far to the end. I mean, we just like my personal opinion. I think we right off in Revelations. We enter in that time period where wicked men just going to totally take over this world, and America is really gone. It's really gone as we know it, as the founding fathers had constructed. It's gone. You there? Okay, Harley. You still there?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was queuing up the next the shuffle off music.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's see. About maybe 4 months ago, too, there was a woman on your program too. That she was playing a recording of a doctor that was talking about. It was a nutritional supplement that was better than vitamins and stuff like that. And they gave out a number, but I couldn't get into contact with that individual doctor.
Okay, here's the number: 1-888.
Okay.
403.
403.
2405.
2405.
Yep, gotta let you go.
Okay, thank you a lot.
Thanks for calling. That's it, folks. Good night. God bless each and every single one of you. Good night, Annie Poon Allison. I love you.